That live report. And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Vargas. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Time now for The Hill.
It is outrageous, right? If you've been to a live event recently, you know the cost is the price of a ticket plus a fee, and then probably add in an arm and a leg. But is breaking up Live Nation and Ticketmaster the solution? Today, the Attorney General saying that is exactly what needs to happen.
We are here because, as we allege, that conduct is anti-competitive and illegal.
Plus, here on the Hill, as we take a live look right now in the Bronx, why is Donald Trump campaigning in New York? And why is the Libertarian Party allowing him to attend their convention? We're speaking with the head of that party in moments. Come on in. I'm Blake Berman. This is The Hill on NewsNation. All right, here we are, here we go. Hanging out with us today, Scott Bolden, former D.C. Democratic Party chairman, NewsNation contributor. Aaron Perini is a Republican strategist. Kurt Bardella, Democratic strategist, NewsNation contributor as well. And Denise Gitsom, former aide to George W. Bush, NewsNation contributor. Hello to you all. Nice to have you all in. Warning to the audience, they are already feisty. I try to rein them in a little bit before the show even started, but I'd rather have it that way than the other way, right? The Attorney General from Connecticut is going to be joining us here in a little bit. The head of the Libertarian Party, they got their convention coming up this weekend. What's going on there?
Donald Trump is the speaker.
Yeah, Donald Trump, so is RFK Jr., by the way. So, why are they allowing
That's why
them?
Trump is there.
And that's why Trump. So we're going to get into all that with the head of the Libertarian Party, Trump Live, momentarily as well. But first, the Attorney General, plus 29 states and Washington, D.C., filing an antitrust lawsuit against Ticketmaster and its parent company, Live Nation, today, alleging that it has a monopolistic grip on the ticket industry.
It controls at least 80% of primary ticketing at major concert venues. It directly manages more than 400 artists and controls more than 60% of concert promotions across the country. And it owns or controls more than 60% of large amphitheaters in the United States.
Yep.
Translation, don't shake it off, break it up, says the Attorney General, essentially. The company, though, strongly disputes it's a monopoly and says, quote, this lawsuit against Live Nation and Ticketmaster won't reduce ticket prices or service fees. All right. You're in the country music scene. And yesterday, Kurt, when I texted Kurt right after the show. I'm like, hey, I think this is coming tomorrow. Can you get any of your country music star friends to come on the show to talk about this? You said, they're not going against Live Nation. They're not going against Ticketmaster. They're not speaking out about this.
Yeah, we're at a time right now where we're about to kick off the summer concert season. Live Nation has something called the Country Mega Ticket, where they literally bundle together all the summer country concerts and sell it as a package to people all across the country. No artist who wants to have a live touring career is going to come on television or talk to media and say, yes, Live Nation should be broken up. That's
so is that a monopoly? Is that a practical way of saying monopoly?
I think it's a realistic practicality. This is just the way that it is. They control the venues. They control the tickets. They control the distribution. They control the marketing. So, yeah, they have somewhat of a monopoly. But let me be really clear here. Any artist can choose not to tour with them. They could tour with AEG or MTG, some of the other groups. Taylor Swift, Beyonce, the two largest touring entities where some of this really began, they could say, I'm not going to do Ticketmaster. I'm going to go do something else. It says a lot that the artists themselves aren't doing anything.
President Biden today, Scott, White House reaction. While we do not comment on specific enforcement matters, the president strongly supports fair and robust enforcement of the antitrust laws. The American people are tired of being played for suckers at the White House.
Kurt just described a monopoly, and those biggest stars, they don't have any alternative places to go. If they don't go with Live Nation doesn't really have any significant competitors. There's no other competitor that controls the venue, the artists, as well as ticket sales. And that's really what this lawsuit is about. Now, DOJ formed or made this monopoly, arguably, because
when they greenlit it back in 2010.
Yeah. And they had an agreement with certain exceptions, and they argue now that Live Nation violated that agreement. That being said, they've made this, and now they've got to fix it. Now, The challenge with resolving it versus litigating it is that there are 29 attorney generals who have joined in this lawsuit who have consumer protection laws. And so to settle it and resolve it in some, like a global settlement, that's going to be really, really difficult.
So that map right there is fascinating because you see it, Aaron, in states on the East Coast, states on the West Coast. You see it states in the Midwest, states in the Sun Belt. You see blue states politically. You see red states. So this touches sort of every part of the country.
Oh, it does. And that's because people want to, to Kurt's point, this is the summer touring season. People all over the country are going to be enjoying concerts this summer, and a lot of that will go through Ticketmaster and Live Nation. And to Scott's point, this is all a direct result of the Obama administration allowing this merger to go through. So now the fact that Joe Biden has to come
Trump
in.
administration could have done something about that.
But the 2010, who was president of the United States, they allowed this merger to go through. This was their administration. And so Democrats get to pick up their own, they have to clean up their own mess.
I think this also comes on the heel of a really lagging economy that Taylor Swift and Beyonce were double-handedly able to lift out of a recession briefly last summer. And so obviously this is an election season, not to be cynical, but it feels like suddenly politicians care because...
About lowering prices?
Yeah, because suddenly they're on the consumer side. So,
There are a lot of people in the industry who I've talked to today who do think that there is something political behind this. And
the lower the price push?
Yeah.
Okay.
And because the reality is, if you broke up Live Nation today, let's be really clear here, ticket prices would not drop.
That's their argument.
There is massive demand for live events post-COVID. Like sales are just through the... And let me be clear, too. Every artist who's touring, they could tell Live Nation... Taylor Swift could say, I want you to sell all of my tickets for $25, period. Notice that none of these artists are doing that.
Well, no, they're not doing that. But there again, you're proving my argument that Live Nation controls those artists, it controls the venues, and it controls the promotions, which means that all adds up into the ticket prices. Why is it that a Taylor Swift ticket or a Beyonce ticket costs $1,000 here?
Because people will pay for it.
But I can go to Europe and get tickets for half price. And Live Nation doesn't control the European market.
By the way, average ticket price in 2019 was somewhere in the low $90 range. Right now, it's about 35% higher than that at around $125 a pop.
And all right, she's selling out stadiums everywhere still.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the state of Connecticut is one of those 29 states signing on to the lawsuit. Its Attorney General William Tong joins us live here on the Hill. Mr. Attorney General, thanks for being with us. Explain. You think this is a monopoly. Why?
Yeah, of course. I mean, all of your commentators have been making my argument for me. Artists are afraid, venues are afraid to stand up to Live Nation and Ticketmaster, and so we have to. We have to hold them accountable. They have to follow the law, and they're so dominant at every step in the chain. They control the venues. They either own the venues or they control the venues. They manage the artists or they manage the promotion. They manage the ticketing technology, and then, of course, they have the portal for fans to buy tickets and for venues and artists to sell tickets. They're a vertical integrated monopoly. They own the entire stack. They control the entire stack, and we pay for it.
All right, so here's part of Live Nation's argument, though. Ticketmaster, their take is 5%. They say the App Store on Apple, for example, the take is 30%. Profit margin for Ticketmaster, 1.4%. I was just looking at their quarterly earnings, right? Those numbers, Mr. Attorney General, the last quarterly earnings showed an operating loss of $37 million.
It's just misdirection and trying to point the finger somewhere else. You heard the stats from the Attorney General. They control 80% of all primary ticketing for major concert venues. They do $22 billion plus a year in business, and they make money at every step. And so,
well, revenue's one thing, obviously, but what about them with an operating loss?
Well, I'm not deep in their books. I don't know what you're referring to. I know they make tons of money. I know they make tens of billions of dollars on all of us through. And by the way, consumers pay. We pay a monopoly tax. We call them monopoly rents in the antitrust space. We pay a Ticketmaster tax. And so you may think that a ticket costs $90 or $120, but when you log on and you start going through the process, you get paid a service fee, a ticketing fee, a processing fee. There's so many fees that get larded on, and by the time you're done, it's not $90, it's $150, and we all pay for it. We are captured in this fishbowl that is dominated and owned by Live Nation and Ticketmaster.
We have to leave it there. The Attorney General in the state of Connecticut, William Tong, thank you, sir, for your time and your perspective signing on to the lawsuit today. Appreciate it. You got it. All right. Meantime, in Louisville, Kentucky, the legal case, a different one now, against Scottie Scheffler, the top-ranked golfer in the world, is proceeding as police in that city today released 2 videos from last week's arrest. This one right here, one of the videos, which shows Scheffler driving to the entrance of the golf course. What you appear to see here is an officer approaching his vehicle and then arresting Scheffler. You can see it at the top of your screen there. Now, police have accused Scheffler of second-degree assault. That is a felony, as they say Scheffler's vehicle dragged the officer to the ground. Again, video there. They also say the officer went to a local hospital. All right, so this is part of it. One, that the body cam video wasn't on. They say, so second-degree assault, felony, multiple years in prison if you're convicted for something like that. The officer needed to go to the hospital for medical treatment. His, according to the police report, his uniform was ripped beyond repair. I didn't see anyone responding there. Did you? Did I miss that in the video? If you run over a police officer in a car to you where you need to go to a hospital to where your uniform is ripped beyond repair, it was...
It seems
around him.
From what they're saying, Louisville Police Department, one, they have a huge crisis comm situation on their hands, and they are going to lose massively in the court of public opinion just based on this. And I support law enforcement. Let's make no bones about that. But what I will say here is they say that incident where the officer fell was before Scottie took the turn into the golf course. If the officer did fall, that could fall under a felony charge here. But how this is an active scene where there was somebody who died just prior to that and no officer. This is an ongoing investigation at that site at this time. The fact that no officer has the body cam on and approached the vehicle, that is just mind-boggling bad police work. And that's going to lead to a lot of questions, which, again, leads to the crisis comms and the loss in the court of public opinion.
By the way, this happened a week ago. They haven't dropped the charges. So they're
the prosecutor's going to choose whether or not at the end, but that's a catch-22, right? They can't not prosecute because if the officers are saying they want to prosecute, you can't. It's hard to go against that.
My lawyer friend here has said it correctly without a doubt, whether she's a lawyer or not, but she's right about that. What happens in these cases? I will say this: that the uniform being unrepairable is the first time I've seen a police report where they added that.
I've never seen that. I've covered local news for 9 years.
The police tend to overcharge. They get hyped up, and this was especially when one of their officers is allegedly injured. But the prosecuting attorney will figure out what the charges are. There's a struggle now because of the crisis communications. You've got the police and the prosecutor trying to figure out how to get out of this thing, especially if it was a bad arrest. And very oftentimes it'll go forward because they can't resolve it. And listen, the police do a lot of work with the prosecutors every day. And so unfortunately, the case may be tried, or if there's a way out for them to save face and for Scheffler to move on from this, that's probably the best opportunity for both sides.
All right, video now that will really grab your attention. Check this out. You're looking at Arlington National Cemetery earlier today, ahead of Memorial Day. The Army's 3rd Infantry Regiment, also known as the Old Guard, places American flags in front of the more than 260,000 headstones at Arlington National Cemetery. The Flags in Tradition has taken place every year since 1948. Keep this video up. Around the table we go. Denise, I'll start with you. When you look at this, what do you see?
Well, it just recalls scripture, which is greater love hath no man than this, that he lays down his life for his friends. And I am so grateful to everyone who has laid down their life. And I think we all need to reflect on that in the midst of all that we're fighting for and against in America, that these are the true heroes that enable us to even have the opportunity to speak.
What do you see, Kurt?
I just see the ultimate, measure of devotion to our country and context for as we head into the political season and things get crazy and stupid, that there are people who have paid the ultimate price so that we have the right and the privilege to have these conversations. And we should try to keep that in mind all throughout the year.
Absolutely. I see duty, honor, service, and sacrifice, and it makes me proud to be an American, to see other soldiers out there putting out the American flag. It's like wreaths across America at Christmas time. Honoring those who have fallen in the name of this country is the least we can do to live in the greatest and freest nation in the world.
I see true patriotism, not fake patriotism, not political patriotism. At its core, true patriotism. And I see my father, who's buried at a military installation in Illinois. And when they buried him, there were military personnel putting not only flowers but flags around his grave when he was first interned. So, absolutely.
Remarkable scene at Arlington National Cemetery earlier today. All right, still to come here from the Hill over the next 45 minutes. Is this what roughly $400,000 over 4 years gets you?
The students had spoken. The faculty had spoken. Harvard, do you hear us?
That just some of the scene at Harvard today. And by the way, brand new information coming out of Columbia. Plus, the new $2.5 trillion behemoth. How one company is suddenly bigger than nearly every country in the world. But first, on the other side of the break, a live look right now in the South Bronx, in the Big Apple. Why are we talking about national politics in the Bronx, you might ask, with a Republican candidate? Donald Trump set to take the stage there. So what's he doing campaigning in the Bronx? You're watching The Hill here on NewsNation. All right, welcome back here to The Hill on NewsNation. So normally it's not a national political hotspot, but a live look right now at the Bronx in New York as Donald Trump is set to hold a rally in a very unlikely place, one of the most Democratic counties in the country. Headline today in the New York Times, for example, quote, pizza deliveries and bodega stops, Trump's Big Apple campaign. Now, the Trump campaign believes it can grow support among Black and Hispanic men. What's going on here with him campaigning in New York? He's in New York, New Jersey now. He's there are a couple political calculations here that people need to remember. One, while Donald Trump would not always be thinking about this, the House majority runs through New York and California. And so being there and revving up voters now, getting their contact information now, that'll play dividends down the road. Okay. There's a recent Siena poll that has Donald Trump within 9 points of Joe Biden in New York. I'm not saying New York is truly a competitive state, but if you're them and you're spending a lot of time there and you can capture a crowd like this and get a headline about how you're trying to shake up the map and you're trying to bring in more minority voters to the Republican Party, of course you're going to take that opportunity. I want to show you the calendar, Denise, of where Trump has been in the month of May. 2 swing states, Wisconsin and Michigan, like earlier this month. Yeah, the first day of the month. And then basically everywhere outside of that, either for a fundraiser or campaign activities, has been in not necessarily competitive states.
Yeah, and still it hasn't done anything but increase his poll numbers. I mean, campaigning is done fundamentally different now. We're in a post-COVID world where everything is virtual, and everything that he does on camera, which is his best venue. I mean, the camera loves him. Every time he goes on camera, it's just his sweet spot. So why would he go to an actual live rally and have to travel all these places when he can do it from the comfort of just any place that has a camera? Also, I would say the reason that just going to where Aaron was saying earlier, I did Hispanic outreach for President Bush. That was my whole thing on the campaign in 2000. And what we're seeing is every single time Republicans go out of their way to engage Latino and Black voters, which are so often taken advantage of and really taken for granted by Democrats, you see shifts in numbers. Whenever I ask people who are Democrats that were voting for President Bush in 2000, why are you voting for him? Without fail, they said, we don't agree with him on all the issues, but we feel like he respects us enough to show up and ask us for his support. And that matters. So we should be happy about that.
As Democrats, are you saying hang out in New York, New Jersey all you want, or you think there's something to it?
I want him to hang out in New Jersey, New York for the rest of the campaign. It makes zero sense. This is fantasy. Complete fantasy.
What's fantasy,
Even
Scott?
if he gets 20% of the Black and brown vote, let's just say he does. New York is not turning red or purple. It's blue. He's facing 34 counts. He's got to spend some time in New York because he's got to be back there for his trial. But more importantly, regardless of what happens today, if there are 20,000 people there, it won't make strategic sense for him to even be there or in New Jersey.
Scott.
I don't know who's giving him his advice and counsel because he doesn't have politics progress or potential with Black and brown voters to make a difference. Go to Detroit and Philly. And if he draws that crowd in Detroit and Philly, then you scare me as a Democrat because those are swing states.
Biden's lost 20% in his just 20 points.
We're 6
in
months
approval.
out.
Yeah, you can say what you want, but he's running from behind.
6 months.
He just ripped off 3 keys off the top of his head.
If there's politics and progress to be had, don't you think that the African American and Latino community would feel it?
With black folks and brown folks.
Don't you think
got
they'd
nowhere
feel
to
it?
go but up. So
obviously
you ain't
they
going
don't
up
care,
on
and
this
they're not
campaign.
feeling it.
I guarantee you that.
What would you say, Kurt?
I think that it's not as sophisticated as we're making this out to be. I think that this is just, hey, I'm going to get some earned media. People are going to talk about it. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to leave the comfort of my geographic region. Trump loves New York. He's a New Yorker. It's his place. He's going to do this for a day. People are going to talk about it, and then it'll be like it didn't happen.
It's about resources. He's behind on money, one.
And he's still winning.
Hold on. Two, he's in a very tight race, especially the swing states, regardless of the one poll that you've got.
I'm with you.
I agree. But so why use resources here in the Bronx instead of a swing state?
Because he's got to stay in New York to be with his lawyers.
Exactly. But he's got to grow with independents and suburban voters. Nothing about this rally right here says it's growing.
Let me ask you
it's
this.
Not.
Do you think this happened because, and the cameras are going up, so it looks like Trump will probably walk out.
Yeah.
But do you think this is happening because, maybe they said, oh, he's going to be there, has to be in court, let's book an event in the Bronx, but, oh, no, he actually didn't need to be in court today.
I think he's go right ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Scott, we're saying the same thing here. If you've got the political opportunity to be here, why not? If he's got to be there, why not be there? Why not get the headline? It doesn't have to completely make all the strategic sense in the world.
Does.
But here's the thing, it does, exactly. It doesn't have to make sense to you, but he's out there courting voters that you're saying that he's got nowhere to go up with. Let him court them. Let him do it. Then why are you so upset?
It plans well with the Democratic Party. What I'm saying is, this is fantasy. This is like just trying to make out like
worst nightmare.
However you want to characterize it, it's clearly unusual to have the presumptive Republican nominee for president campaigning in the Bronx of all places. But
I can tell you, though, they didn't. I don't think they built the pressurizer high enough.
You can see the cell phone cameras.
I want him to live in the Bronx for the rest of the campaign.
All right,
camp out there.
Coming up here, still on the Hill. There's another party out there. There's actually lots of parties out there. But one of them that I think we're going to talk about a lot more, especially as we get closer in an election where the margins really matter, is the Libertarian Party. They are having their convention this weekend. They're going to choose a nominee this weekend, and the head of that party joins us live on the other side of the break. You're watching The Hill here on NewsNation. All right, welcome back here to The Hill on NewsNation. So some of it looked like a joyous day. Other parts of it, though, appeared irreverent. Hundreds of students at Harvard walking out of commencement. That right there, some of it at least, a continuation of the chaos on campus, with protests today focusing on Harvard's decision to not let 13 students walk for graduation who were a part of the encampments. Also today, and happening just moments ago, the Florida Senator Marco Rubio sent this message to Columbia University's president, saying, quote, "I urge you not to compound damage by forcing those students who did not partake in these shameful protests." He goes on to say, to pay for the 3 weeks of education your university failed to provide. Instead, the senator says, you should issue a partial refund. $68,000 a pop just to go to Columbia. 3 weeks, you're probably talking, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, 11 grand. Right, Kurt?
Yeah,
what about that idea? Refund these kids.
Hey, that's good politics right there. That'll appeal to every parent who had a kind of tuition check going, what am I paying for?
Right.
My kid's not at school right now. They closed the campus. He's
hybrid again. What year is it?
He's on Zoom. Like, what is happening right now? Like, yeah, that's a great political play. And again, if you're a parent right now, you are all about that.
But if you're an American and you just saw what we watched at Arlington Memorial, right? Like,
at the beginning of the show, yeah.
We're watching such a juxtaposition between college-age students who gave up their life to fight for our country and lay down their lives to serve and earn the opportunity to go to college, versus a bunch of entitled brats who chose to go to an Ivy League college that ended up demanding that their college bills be repaid, and now railing against their colleges for protecting Jewish students. And I just think that it is such a disgusting commentary on what has happened to this generation of students that demands that everything be given of them, but nothing be sacrificed on their part.
And on a day like today, you just graduated from Harvard.
Yeah, rooting
as
for
a parent,
everyone else.
you might have just dropped $400,000 over the last 4 years, and that's how you're rewarded at the end of it?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
With them walking out?
Well, you know, the students, I sit on the board of trustees at Morehouse, as you know.
You were there you had a front row seat to President Biden.
Yeah, I was on
You were
stage.
texting me pictures. I was like, nice seats, dude.
You have to give a lot of money to be on the board, too. I mean, clearly
Thanks for
Morehouse
throwing
is
that in,
much
Scott.
much smaller than Harvard, if you will. But there was a lot of work done with the students. Many of them felt the way that they wanted to protest. They did not want Biden there.
Yeah.
They sat in silent protest, but it took a lot of work. You can't do that type of work with the students at some place like Harvard. But these students have an ownership piece to it. You can't have Harvard without the students.
Right.
I think you're right about the money piece. They have a right to walk out. They don't have a right to be disruptive. And let's remember that these students want a ceasefire and a pro-Palestinian. Not all of them, but most of them are.
Right.
I don't want to confuse that with the rebel rousers who are, pro-Hamas and so forth and so on. And so it's a tough issue. I'm glad they went forward with the commencement, actually.
Yes.
And if this is all that happens as a result, and the other students are able to kind of get their degrees and celebrate
It's just
their
all of
families.
these students, by the way.
We had 13 people. They just walked out.
No, yeah, but the students who walked out, there was yelling, there was screaming, there were interruptions. And so those other students who did go and whose parents and family were there had their day ruined by people who want a ceasefire when there was a ceasefire on October 6th.
Yeah.
And so what you see here are students who are behaving badly. If they want to quietly protest and leave, fine, but they weren't.
All the
and they
students
ruined that
behaving
for other
badly
people.
will not hesitate to put Harvard on their resume.
That's
That's at the top of the resume.
Right.
Guess where I graduated from, right?
Just say, I'm from Harvard.
I ruined their day, but guess who I graduated from? All right, live look right now. Of all places, the Bronx in New York, as Donald Trump, the presumptive Republican nominee for president, the former Republican president of the United States, is campaigning in, of all places, the Bronx. Again, live look there with Donald Trump. Of course, when you talk about this election, right, there's a lot of focus on Trump. There's a lot of focus on Biden, a lot of focus on RFK Jr., rightfully so. Could he be a spoiler, right? Those are the big names in the ticket in this race. But there's also other parties out there. One of them, the Libertarian Party, could have a crucial role. Think about this. In an election where the margins will matter, the Libertarian Party is holding its convention this week, where they will choose their presidential nominee, their vice presidential nominee, and the head of that party is Angela McArdle, who joins us live here on the Hill once again. Angela, thanks for being back with us. Appreciate the time. Nice to see you. What do you hope to accomplish this weekend?
Well, we are going to nominate our presidential candidate for the 2024 elections. We also hold our internal party elections, and we have got quite the media show happening at our national convention. People are referring to it informally as Libertarian Woodstock on social media.
So you are inviting Donald Trump to attend. We're watching him right now in the Bronx. He'll be there tomorrow, on Saturday, I believe. RFK Jr. will also be there. RFK Jr., independent. Donald Trump, as we know, a Republican. Why are you allowing, in theory, the opponents into your living room?
Well, for 50 plus years, the Libertarian Party has been trying to get onto the main debate stage with the two-party candidates for president, and it hasn't happened yet. So we have decided to bring the debate stage to our convention. Now, we're not having a traditional debate since we couldn't quite rope those candidates into it, but we're getting as close as we can, which is that we're going to be debating on the same stage with them within a very close proximity of the time that they're speaking.
There had been some thought, Angela, and I think we spoke about this the last time you were here on the show. There had been some thought that maybe RFK Jr. could be on the Libertarian ticket. Is that no chance at all going forward this weekend?
There are still talks about it happening, so I really don't know. It seems to be like there's not, unanimous agreement in the delegates or in his campaign, but I think we'll find out at the last minute.
Talks with who? Like internal talks within the Libertarian Party, or are you actually talking to his campaign? I mean, he's talking now about running it as an independent, so I'm wondering if there's talks with the campaign.
Well, he is. He is running as an independent, and he has reached out to members of our delegation, members of our party, to inquire as to whether or not he should jump into the race. But I don't actually know if that's him personally who's reaching out, or if it's just people on his campaign, or if it's volunteers. It's not totally clear to me. So I'm just kind of trying to feel it out and see what's going to happen. He could be a wild card candidate who jumps in at the last minute.
Is this recently?
Sure. I mean, they're here. His campaign is here. They're walking around. They're meeting people. They're shaking hands.
Okay. Let me ask you about the candidates. We can show the names of some of the folks who are under consideration. And, you know, these are obviously political activists, but no real, quote unquote, for lack of a better term, Angela, big names. So if you don't score, you know, an RFK Jr. And it's maybe someone who's an unknown, how do you make any noise?
Well, that's why we're having this big media circus at our convention this weekend. We have been getting overlooked in a lot of the polls because a lot of our candidates, they're very good libertarians, they're very solid, but they don't have the name recognition and star power that we thought we might have in 2024. So we're doing everything we can to get them a leg up, try to get them on the same stage as Donald Trump and RFK Jr., although it's not at the same time. Pulling out all the tricks, trying to make it happen.
All right, we'll leave it there. Angela McArdle, have fun this weekend. You only get a convention once every 4 years, I guess, and it's happening here in Washington. The head of the Libertarian Party, Angela McArdle. Thank you.